Now, Matt, tell us a little bit about what these experiences are like. Like when these people are they going, they turning up, they going to see government buildings, try different food. What are they experiencing? What are you curating for them on these trips?
Sure. That's a good question. I love that. I love that. So, what you can expect when traveling with us is a curated experience, an experience like none other. We have a little bit of everything. First, we'll start off with the culture. You can't go anywhere and not have that cultural experience.
You got to.
From music to dance to cuisine. And you know, Liberia has the best jollof rice in all of Africa.
All right,
we can debate best food, best
in all of Africa.
So,
all right, we can cut the interview.
He's not lying, so I'm gonna just leave that alone.
I mean,
Liberia, those students love the Liberian dishes, even the ones that are on the other spectrum, like tubagee, right? We had students try the tubagee.
Tubagee, shout out,
and they love the
favorite food in the world.
tubagee, right? So the fufu and soup, they love the food. So that's one thing I was looking at, like, will they be open-minded to enjoy the food? Then another thing is the African dance. Can you get out of your comfort zone? Then we go to the educational side. We're giving back to the primary, secondary schools, orphanages, right? We visit the local hospitals, and we have a component where we compare the governance structures. In Liberia, government structures are the same because Liberia was founded by the emancipated slaves that left the states and settled, right? So we want to show a comparison and difference between cultures and governance. So that is how Madam Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, the first class, got the opportunity to be in her presence when she was leaving office. Shout out Mr. Robert Sirleaf, Adama, everybody, the Sirleaf family has embraced this initiative. So all of the students that you see with Madam, it's because of that.
Yeah.
But that is important so they can understand governance.
Yeah.
They can understand what is it like to go through so many challenges and hurdles and barriers and then become the first female elected president. It's amazing. Right? So then after we fast forward from that, we take them to rural areas, right? Liberia is just not Monrovia.
Right.
We have a countryside. We can eat country rice, red rice. That's the organic rice for those that don't know. Very expensive here. But it's common in Liberia. It's common in Liberia.
Where real
the
food
red
is
rice.
just grown outside.
Yeah. And it's organic.
Yeah.
So we give them that experience. So it's an all-inclusive experience. It's not just a trip.
Yeah.
That's what distinguishes us from them.
Experience, not just
It's
a
an
trip.
experience.
And I love what you talked about with like the comparison between the two, because like if you're American, I know we talk about this all the time. Like if you're, we had the privilege of being like truly African American, but there's a lot of people on one side of the fence or the other that doesn't really know.
Right.
All they know is like what they see in the media, which is very misleading, a lot of misconceptions. So it's like you're able to give them the opportunity to see what the real is, and they can see how does their life compare here, like if they're in Atlanta versus living in Monrovia. What does that look like? And I'm sure there's a lot of stuff is surprising. It's like, oh wow, it's really different versus a lot of things. It's like it's actually very similar to like if I was on Bankhead Highway somewhere, or something like that. So. No,
and talking about similarities, one brother, I'll never forget, we were in Senegal. This brother said, "You guys taught me how to eat a fish." I said, "What you mean eat a fish?" He said, "The whole fish, the head, the eyes,
ain't leaving nothing."
He never had that experience, and he was like, "They have cars, they have roads." I said, "What did you think they have? They got Mercedes. They got." I'm like that, and when he said those things, I said, I won.
Yeah, you got him.
I won.
That's
Because that's what we wanted to portray. We wanted to show them that Africa is not what they portray through media.
Exactly.
You can go start a business. You can go be great, right? And it's a good day for Africa. Shout out all over Africa, all nations. Yeah. I remember when they used to laugh at me for being African. Like, I'm darker skinned too.
Man.
That gave me courage too. Now they want me. They like me.
Yeah, it's like the Mike Jones experience.
Yeah, now, you know what I'm saying? Like, but it's love.
Yeah. No, I always say, like, we went from African booty scratcher to Wakanda forever.
Right.
Like, it's just complete day and night shit.
Complete day and night shit.
Exactly.
Man, you were talking about the experiences that the students have, and even what you just mentioned. I think it's important, even coming back to even having this platform and these microphones, to be able to have Africa's story told by Africans, and introduced specifically to Black Americans by Africans in a way that is real and fair. Because as Sita mentioned, and you grew up here, right?
Yes.
Yeah, in Los Angeles,
California.
right? In California.
San Francisco.
So
yeah.
all of us, we as he mentioned, we are all African and American.
Right.
We love being African just as much as we love being American. And I don't know about you, but for me, when I hear one side bash the other, it breaks my heart, because it's literally a thing of we are feeding off of what the lies that we have been told about each other and not actually talk to each other. So now what you've done is, and specifically it's good that you're doing that in youth, and not because Frederick Douglass said it's easier to build strong men than to build strong children than to repair broken men.
Right.
And so when you're pouring into these kids in this way, you are changing their idea and their mindset of what Africa is and how Africa should be. Because now, instead of them shying away from it, oh, it's a dirty place or whatever, it's a thing where in their mind they're thinking about, maybe I could grow up and go to college in Ghana.
Right.
Maybe I could grow up and go to college in Liberia, Nigeria. Maybe I could go to college in Sierra Leone. Maybe I could leave here and go there. Maybe I have a business idea based on that something that I saw that now I want to go back to Africa in some way, shape, or form and help rebuild it. So you're literally like helping to bridge that gap and telling our stories and showing our culture and continent in the way that it should be shown. That's commendable.
Thank you.
For sure,
Blessings.
man. For sure, man. For sure, man. So what has been some of the? You've had a lot of successes, and how many kids have you helped so far, or traveled with so far?
With the interruption of COVID-19, 2 years, so we weren't in operation. This is the seventh. I say in a good 4 years, because COVID, we can't count COVID. Good 4 years, we did 200 and about, counting December, about 275 students.
That's dope. So with those 275 students over the years, what has been, I guess, the biggest challenges for you as an entrepreneur, like on the backside, the stuff that they don't see, that you're like, man, I'm trying to fight for these kids to get this. Like, what have been some of the biggest hurdles and challenges you've experienced in trying to do that, either in that regard or with you even personally? Because I know as we're doing entrepreneurship and things like that, like the business is a major part of our lives, but then we still have to try to live our lives. Like, you have business issues and then you have life issues that come about from just being a human. So what have been some of the things that you've had to overcome in order to continue doing what you're doing?
One thing I say I had to overcome is to always give a different experience. We don't want to be similar to all the other organizations, because right now, if you look at the space, the market, everybody's curating their experience and traveling to Africa. So what is going to distinguish you? Social media is blowing up. Everybody has their own platform. So it's a lot of competition. Yeah. So what can be challenging at times is being able to capture the mind of the students and say, look, this is what we are doing that is different. Yeah. So I think continuing to be creative, giving new content, a new experience, expanding your horizons is one. Another thing that's challenging is looking at, and we want to expand upon HBCUs. I love my HBCUs. Shout out HBCUs. But the world is big. Yeah. Right? One thing I want to do is looking at HBCUs. Would you believe this if I told you every HBCU college or university does not have a study abroad office? You went to Tech. You went to Morehouse. We had study abroad offices. Absolutely. Those programs were available to us. At some of our brothers and sisters institutions, those programs aren't available. So what outlets can we go through to exercise and provide those opportunities for those students, right? And then also, there are other dominant organizations that have been in the space for generations that we compete against, right? And I love competition. I love competition. But it's like, okay, we gotta tighten up, have a stronger team, right? A stronger core to be able to provide that. So I think it's, exercising options to go to those schools where programs aren't available, tapping into that industry, and keeping God first, of course.
Yeah, always.